What up, though? Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June. What up, Foss?
What's going on?
It is not Tuesday.
Nah.
So I know for the people that do watch and pay attention, our shows are usually on Tuesday, but we don't want to cover Lions football that happened on Sunday on Tuesday. So we're going to switch days and be here on Monday nights, except for the Monday night football game, which that week will be on Tuesday. Now, for our radio listeners, instead of broadcasting on Wednesdays, we'll be broadcasting on Tuesdays. So you'll get the audio on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iPodcast, all the podcast websites that you listen to will be available on Tuesday morning instead of Wednesdays. So it's about that time. The season is starts. Was it next Thursday?
Yeah, a little over a week.
Man. How do you feel about what you've seen so far? I mean, we both talk about not putting a lot of stock into preseason, but still, the Lions played. Who was it with? Carolina.
Yeah.
And when they lost to the Jaguars, we didn't trip. So we're not going to go crazy over no wins either.
Right.
But Foster, what did you see this last game?
I mean, I feel like things are starting to really come together all at the right time. Teddy Bridgewater had a much better game. Obviously, he's our backup quarterback, but it was nice to see him show why, he's at the caliber of somebody that could take over in the event that we need him. He looked very sharp. The chemistry was a lot better, and he looked it just goes to show what a week can do for somebody that literally knew nothing about the offense going into things 2 weeks ago. But outside of that, we got to see a big play. Got to see some big plays, some explosion. The defense, the secondary looked really good. Levi Onwuzurike showed some spark as well. So I really don't have too many. The offensive line looked a lot better. So I
mean, they couldn't look any worse than that second.
They couldn't look any worse, but it looked like a polar. Like I really feel like Dan Campbell cut into them. I just really feel
he had to. He had to. That was
bad. It was bad.
It was atrocious.
Yeah. So
it was not a good day for the offensive line during the preseason game 2, but this preseason game 3, they turned it around a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, we just looked a lot better. Oh, and it's gonna make things that much more difficult when it comes to cutting down from that 90 that we started down to the 53, which I remember when they used to cut it down in parts, where like it would go from like 90 to 75 to 60 to 53, but they pretty much cut everybody all at once. I mean, not all in one day.
They used to have a cut like after the first 2 games or after a game, it was still had people they had to get rid of.
Yes.
So I kind of I like it better this way.
It gives everybody more of an opportunity, because I feel like some guys probably get cut too soon because there was a requirement, but it's a lot of long faces the day before the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, what was the final score? 25-7?
I think it was 17. It was either 25 or 26-17.
Okay. I might be getting it confused.
26-17.
I don't put a lot of stock into wins and losses in the preseason. I don't. So pardon me if I don't know the correct score. The Lions won. They played better. Teddy Bridgewater looked a lot better, and what difference the week makes. Uh, I can't say the same for Nate Sudfeld. Uh, he
Oh,
actually left with an injury, and from what I'm hearing, it's a torn ACL, right?
yeah, yeah. Very
So,
unfortunate.
um, so very unfortunate for that man. So whether he was going to be a difference or the third quarterback or whatever, he certainly won't be now. I hate to make it sound like that, but a significant injury, and with bringing in Teddy Bridgewater and you have a significant injury like that, it just kind of makes the roster cuts or whatever you're going to do with those three quarterback, it makes that decision a little bit easier.
Right, right.
So I hate that it had to happen with an injury though. Like if
Yeah.
you lose your position for competition, that's what it is. But you hate to see somebody go out like that. So,
It's
um,
interesting because it looks like, well, Trey Lance obviously got traded to the Cowboys, but they said the Lions were in the sweepstakes to possibly acquire Trey Lance, which I was like, okay. Did we really need all of that? But I don't know.
I have my reservations about that quarterback in particular. Like he was taken very high in the draft,
Right.
and I didn't see a, I didn't see anything relatable on while he was in the NFL to make him look like he belonged as an NFL starter. You draft a quarterback that high, he has to be a franchise quarterback.
He went in the first round, or
I thought it was top 10.
oh, was it? I really haven't done
He
a
was
lot
up
of.
there.
Okay, yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy duty right there.
Look here, man. Look here. If I got another, hey, if you draft a quarterback in the first round, that's your franchise quarterback for a while. That should be. He
Should
may
be.
not be there the first couple years, but that's your plans for the future. If you're going to go quarterback in the first, and especially in the first 10 picks, there's no getting away around it. That's just what it is. So
Mhm.
I guess we can talk about Gilmore's been around the ball a lot.
Oh,
Like I think
we gonna talk about it.
I think if you are Gilmore and you're trying to make a roster spot, he's done things to make sure he's going to be on the roster. I'm not saying that he's going to survive it. I don't know when the last roster cut is, but he's done a lot to keep himself in the hunt. So I like the way he's playing. He probably has a great uh, mentorship from his brother, and you know, and everything else that comes with having an NFL brother that actually can play. So everything from your diet to the training to staying in shape, technique, you have first track with. You know what I'm saying? Watching film, I could watch film with my brother and you know what I'm saying, and him show me what he's seeing and what's made him successful. So it's good to see that he's making plays on a stacked defensive backfield.
Whew.
Hey man, did I say the Detroit Lions had a stacked defensive backfield? When have we said that?
It's been a long time.
What was Westbrook was the corner? Terry Fair?
Terry Fair, Dre Bly, Robert
Dre
Bailey.
Bly? Oh wow. We've had some athletes come through here, but only a few at that corner position have panned out.
Yeah.
So this is a loaded defensive backfield.
Yes.
Do you have on deck the roster cuts?
Yeah. So the first set there wasn't a whole lot of like, ones that jump off the page. But obviously, along with the roster cuts, is when you start um, putting the guys on IR and things of that nature. So of course, Hendon Hooker, uh, Jamison Wilson is on the reserve is on the suspended list as well. But as far as notable roster cuts, obviously Dylan Drummond was one of the guys that was competing for a
Mhm.
roster spot at the receiver position. So he was cut today. We're obviously hoping that he can make it through waivers and come back on the practice squad because he has earned some level of, you know, he's earned his way onto the roster in some capacity, in my opinion, especially in the
Let
last
me
game.
let me ask you something this, right? Before we move on past that, hold that thought, but let me ask you this. Why Drummond and why not Coda or Green? In your opinion? Did I put you on
I
the spot?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. So I really feel like up until this game, is any trade for the Lions next week? You know what? Well, damn. Just to answer Josh, I definitely like the participation as far as comments. They've been talking about James Houston possibly being on the trade block,
And I
which is
wanna know why.
I mean, I guess it's the logjam at edge, and I guess if there's an opportunity for us to obtain something of higher need, maybe. Um,
Mm.
especially with the Quar brothers kind of earning their spot possibly onto the. He may just be the odd man out. I don't know, but
Which one is the younger brother? That would be Julian, right?
I think so. I honestly I don't know. I deciphered
Oh,
them by
come
one.
on,
One took
Foss.
one took the pay cut, and one had 3 sacks in the first game. That's how pretty much how I've been deciphered the two of them. But um, yeah, I saw James Houston on the. Well, we originally saw Julian Okwara as a possible trade chip as
Yes.
well. So I will be more intrigued by that than Houston, especially
Okay.
since Houston is younger. But
Let's look at it. Let's look at it, right? Houston, young guy, right?
yeah,
Played half the season last year, had 8 sacks last year. Played pretty good ball during the preseason. The defensive line is a strength, but why? Why would he be considered on the bubble?
the only thing I can think of is the fact that he's not as versatile. Like he's not gonna be. He can only play outside. He can't play inside, and his primary role is rushing the passer. He's not going to. They're gonna run right at him. They're gonna run right at him if he's out there. Is what is my only explanation for why they could be getting possibly trying to trade him with the hopes that there's a decent return, because I feel like there's probably some teams out there that are willing to take a real nice flyer on a guy like him.
And that's my thing. Like, don't cut him. He has value. Trade him.
No, yeah, trade him. Yeah. It would be a trade. I
If
don't.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
I don't
do
see
any,
him.
I don't want him to leave, but I'm just saying
Right,
if he's not in your plans, don't let him walk.
right. Yeah. No, that's not gonna.
So
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But outside of that, we they say that we might be looking for a number 3 quarterback with Sudfeld hurt and Hooker. Who's to really say what his status is? Um,
I've
and
heard
then
different things.
yeah, and then the offensive line as well. I think that there still may be some concerns with the offensive line. So as far as trades, that's what I know or what I've kind of seen out there. To answer your question about the receivers, I think that up until um, the last game on Friday, Drummond had kind of been a disappointment in the preseason games. So
Mhm.
Coda and Green I feel like had a leg up. Maybe Green didn't have a leg up, but he
Did that
certainly had
play
a leg.
save him? Did that
That
play
play
say?
saved. If you take away that 70-yard pass, there's not much that I saw from Antoine Green, honestly. But if you ever were going to make an impact in a game that quote unquote didn't mean anything, that's the one.
Yeah. I think when I saw the play and I was watching it live, of course, and I said he caught it, I said, he's gone. All he
You
has to
saw
do
that.
is cut. Yeah. I said, all you gotta do is cut. He gone. And he was for North Carolina, he was a deep threat.
Yeah.
So may not have the 40 time numbers on paper, but he got behind the defense a lot. So I knew he could move once he got the ball. So I said, oh, he ought to be gone.
Yeah.
And it was
Also,
payday.
did Drummond do any punt return, kick return? Like, did he have any contributions special teams wise?
Now that I couldn't tell. I didn't see any of it.
I didn't see any either. So I feel like I know for a fact Coda had returned some punts. So I feel like that kind of made him expendable. The fact that he hadn't contributed from what I remember on special teams. So yeah, that's the reason, in my opinion, it made sense. I feel like we talked about it. We agreed on that the day before.
You thought I was going to say Coda when I said all three of them wasn't going to be there.
You said it would be a surprise. So I was like, okay, the Coda would surprise me.
My reasoning was the surprise. Okay, for those that are watching and listening, I asked Foster yesterday if who gets cut, Drummond, Green, Coda, and I said I have an answer, and you'll be surprised. So Foster thought I was going to say Coda because we both are high on Coda. Like we've been rooting for Coda. We like what we see. We want him to be there, but I said no. I think you cut Drummond. My reason is what will surprise you, and my reasoning is with Coda and Green. I think if you cut those players, they get picked up.
Okay, yeah,
And I don't think a lot of people are up on Drummond. So if you cut Drummond, you have a better chance of bringing him back to the practice squad.
Right.
Because the organization does like what he does. And also, it's the smoke and mirror effect. You keep a seventh rounder that you feel is productive instead of cutting a seventh round pick like Green and keeping an undrafted wide receiver. It just makes the decision that you made in the seventh round look that much better.
Right.
You know, you're like, hey, man, you wasted because people are picky. There's no such thing as tripping over a seventh round pick. Like, you don't go bananas over who you got in the seventh round. You just don't. But finicky fans will say, hey, you drafted that wide receiver in the seventh round. You didn't even use him. You cut him. And
yeah, in 7th round.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it looks, especially, what if you drafted, like, let's say you did draft Green in the 7th round and he winds up being productive. You look like a genius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You look like a genius, and credibility in this business, as far as a GM, as far as, it goes a long way. So shout out to Drummond. He's from Eastern. That's my alma mater. I hope he gets another crack at it, whether it's here or in another franchise. But he actually played pretty good during the preseason practices. I don't think he was as productive in the games. However, the organization liked what they saw in Drummond.
Right.
So let me ask you this, Foss. Did they cut Martinez?
They did.
I don't think that's a surprise, though.
It's more of a surprise because Sudfeld's hurt, but at the same time, you got to factor in the fact that people are cutting other guys on other teams, and we can always pick up out of those waivers that that we're hoping that our guys clear. Same thing. They got guys that they like and would hope clear waivers, but it's an opportunity to scoop them up.
I got to figure out how this works with Hendon Hooker.
He can just go on. He can just
be on the PUP.
Yeah, is it PUP or our injured reserve? One of the two. Where
injured reserve means you're not playing for a certain amount of games.
Yeah,
like you definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. I don't know how what they're gonna do with it, because they knew he was hurt when they drafted him. So
right.
It was a second
doesn't
round
hurt. It doesn't. It's like Jameson Williams, where he wasn't held against the 53-man roster.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. It doesn't count against the roster. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we have 2 healthy quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
So there's still some moves to be made for sure with Gonzalez, okay, with Martinez being cut. That's the moral of the story.
Well, I don't know what happened to my camera.
Yeah, I'm like, what's up? Check the roster for 1 second and you was gone. I'm like, wow.
Man, I think Drummond got me, man. I'm sorry, man. I want you to be on the team, bro.
You shouted him out. Man.
Hey, man, Eastern,
fellow Eagle, man. Yeah.
Go Eagles, man. Wait, hold on. What, you Western, right?
Yeah, our big ops are Central though. We ain't got no issues with Eastern, so
okay,
we'll let them.
Man. I don't want no smoke, man. I don't want no smoke from you, Kalamazoo.
It'll be that over Central.
Yeah. What was that wide receiver that was tearing y'all up? Crazy guy. God.
Oh, Antonio Brown.
Brown.
He was in school. He was on his way out of school when I got there.
He was wearing y'all out.
Do your homework. Just do your homework.
He was wearing y'all out at it. He was getting crazy at Central, man.
They had a good quarterback,
especially his senior year.
Oh man, yeah, that's when I got there. I'm like, whoa, let that guy do what he gonna do, because he gonna be something one day.
Yeah, man. So any other notables that got cut?
Let's see. I mean, Trinity Benson, we traded a draft pick, a 5th rounder for him not too long ago, a couple years ago, and he's been cut. Ozigbo was one of the running backs we got to see a lot. Other than that, Christian Covington, a guy that, he made some noise, but numbers game. He ended up just being a camp body because we picked him up from San Diego, this summer. So other than that, lot of camp bodies, a lot of guys that came in halfway through camp, a couple offensive linemen that were probably, just destroyed throughout the first couple games that didn't make the cuts. But it's going to get more interesting. There's going to be some notable guys. Like, I feel like Iffy's on the bubble because he's always hurt. Our secondary is very stacked. Mosley's coming back. So I'm still very curious about the Okwara brothers and what they end up doing with Houston. So it's gonna get more interesting between now and 4:00 tomorrow. And right now, nothing too major. Nothing too major.
So you got your cut ticker going, man. Are you gonna pay attention at 4?
I mean, yeah, it's gonna get interesting. It's gonna get interesting at 4. It's gonna be like that, like the trade deadline in basketball, But yeah, I'm definitely paying it. I'm definitely keeping my eye out and keeping the Google search hot, because we got a bona fide winner right now. So it's gonna get tight. That's all I can really say.
I figure by the time I get off at 4:30. So it should be some things going on right around that time.
Oh yeah.
I know they have their mind made up. And they're just going to wait their time until 4:30, until 4 to make their moves. They're probably on the phones now to seeing what's what, doing their research on what they need, this, that, and other. It's a lot of things going on right now between now and 4:00. So that about wraps it up for the preseason and the roster cuts. But we didn't talk about our players of the game for the last preseason game. We
Can't
didn't do
forget
that.
that. Yeah.
So who's your offensive player of the game, Foster?
Offensive player of the game, I got Antoine Green. That
He
70, that
earned it.
70. Oh yeah, he earned his keep on that one. That 70-yard catch to the house was very exciting, and I cannot wait to see that in the regular season. And Antoine Green was kind of quiet the first couple games of the year,
Mhm.
but I think he woke some people up with that one. He took a pretty conservative slant route across the middle, and he just
Yeah.
found some daylight and ended. You take away that catch, he probably has a plain Jane regular night, but you cannot. We can't act like that didn't happen. And so Teddy.
I thought it was a botched play though, man. I thought it was like, wait a minute, it's too much. It's too many people in that one area.
Right, right,
Like when he
right.
threw it, he didn't throw it in traffic, but I'm like, wait a minute, there's two receivers over there, there's two backs over there too.
It makes it tricky. It
What?
makes it tricky to defend too, because it's like, what? Oh, he out of here.
So, yeah. So, but once he caught it and cut, it was over. It was
Yeah.
over. Who's your defensive player of the game?
Defensive player of the game, I got
Oh man, that's
Steven
obvious.
Gilmore. Yeah.
That's
See,
obvious.
and these are the guys when I was talking about the takeaways. If you notice, I try not to say their name because I want to give them they proper they proper respect. But yes, Steven Gilmore. He had 5 total tackles and a pick 6. And
On the pick 6, did he get there a little early? Keep it a buck.
he got there a little early. I mean, you can make a case that it was in the act of going for the ball. But yeah, I mean, he did technically make contact with him a little before.
He got there a little early. A little early.
We're gonna take
But
it
it's
though.
preseason,
It's a
we'll
preseason for
take
the
it.
refs. It's a preseason for the refs too. They got it. They got to get their act together. So, I mean, I can't remember the last time the Lions had a pick 6. Like it really might date. I can't. It probably don't date back to Dre Bly, but in that generation, that's when the
My man had a
defensive.
couple pick 6s though. That went to Philly.
Okuda or no, Philly.
I
Oh, you
forget
talking
his
about
name.
Slay?
Slay had a
Yeah,
pick 6.
Slay. I forgot. Yeah,
Hey man, don't do Darius Slay like that, man. He's an op
era,
now. But come on,
that
bro.
era. Nah, I mean, I don't even because I mean he kind of op, but that Patricia era is just such a forgettable era, bro. Like,
Oh, let's not go there. Okay.
hey,
That's enough, man. There'll be no patty melts dropped here, bro. None of that. None.
But yeah. Stephen Gilmore is definitely making a case for himself as well, and he's kind of done everything right thus far from camp, and then translating over into actual game action. So I feel like you have to, especially scoring a touchdown. I feel like you have to have solidified your spot with a play like that. But we got Chase Lucas too. Chase Lucas had a good game as well. He had a pick. He had a nice tackle, a clean like spear type tackle. So you just love to see the defensive backs make plays out there because we've seen darker days for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. While we're on the subject of players, we might as well get to our featured player of the week. Foster, I usually take this time and let you do your thing with whoever you're going to talk about. So the floor is yours, bro.
All right. So our featured player of the week is Malcolm Rodriguez. He is
I
an
was going to mess
outside.
his name up.
You was gonna mess it up.
Yeah, that's why I let you do this.
But yeah, he's an outside linebacker out of Oklahoma State University. He went in the sixth round, and going into camp, there was not a lot of expectations. Obviously being a late round draft pick like that, you're just hoping to make the team. But
sure.
he made an impact early on in camp, and he was coined the nickname Rodrigo, and he became a fan favorite from the Hard Knocks episodes. So going into the year, he was the starting outside linebacker. They call it will linebacker, which is the weak side linebacker, meaning that he lines up opposite the tight end and is often up against a running back or a slot receiver. The will linebackers are they play more of a freelance style. They operate from sideline to sideline, and they are the ball hawks. And normally they are the best pass rushing linebacker. They utilize the middle linebackers to free them up so that they can fly around and make some plays. Malcolm Rodriguez had a up and down year, to say the very least. His defensive ratings were kind of average. I won't say that he was on the low end of things, but overall he was, just average as far as defensive ratings. And there's obviously a whole bunch of things that go into that. It was at the pretty much the halfway point in the year. He was his snaps were dropped down considerably. And it was the Miami Dolphins game where we kind of got shredded by Tyreek Hill and company. And Aaron Glenn made some adjustments and moved some linebacker packages around, which kind of cut down on Malcolm Rodriguez's snaps. He still had some productive games in the second half of the year. One particular game I can think of was the Buffalo Bills game, which was on Thanksgiving. He had a pretty good game. Ultimately, at the end of the year, the Lions decided that they wanted to bolster their linebacking core and make some changes, and that resulted in the drafting of Jack Campbell, who was another highlighted player in our in one of our first couple episodes. So basically, his outlook for this year is he's definitely got some competition. What's his name? Is it Chris Barnes? Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes has
doing like I do.
Yeah, Derek Barnes has turned the corner as a linebacker as well. We brought back Anzalone, and we also have Jack Campbell. So it's gonna be a fight for Malcolm Rodriguez this year. He's definitely got some competition, and it's yet to be seen. He played a lot in the preseason, so he definitely got an opportunity to get some reps in and continue to improve himself. But with Jack Campbell likely to move over to the starting middle linebacker role, and Anzalone taking over that second linebacker, with us normally running a two linebacker set with a nickel back and 4 defensive linemen, it's going to make it difficult for Malcolm Rodriguez to crack the starting lineup and get as many reps as he did last year. So we will see how he fares. I think he was top 5 as far as rookies, as far as tackles are concerned. I think he had like 50 plus tackles. And Malcolm Rodriguez is obviously, he knows all about being up against it and being the underdog, because he was drafted in the 6th round. So who was to say that he was going to get any playing time his rookie year? So we will just have to see how he fares. But he had a pretty good, I feel like he had a pretty good preseason, pretty good camp. So I'm excited to see what he has to offer this year.
I gotta give that up to you, Paul. That was top notch, bro.
Appreciate
that was top notch, bro. Well, I give him a lines roar. To give you some props for that, man. Oh, but we acting like we don't have any bills to pay.
Yeah, gotta do that.
Sure. I totally forgot about that, but those bills got to be paid, man. I was supposed to do that earlier, but We made it happen.
Yeah.
Once again, and I don't know why my camera keeps getting cut off. I'm gonna leave it off next time. It's just maybe people don't want to see me. I don't know what it is. I don't know, man. The real wifey out there, man. Wifey don't want to see me either. So it's all good. I'm just playing. She's listening. I'm playing. I'm just kidding. Lord Jesus.
We
I ain't
don't
trying
see
to
a
sleep on
shoe
the
fly
couch.
across the screen now.
Hey man, I ain't trying to sleep on the couch, bro. Not right. So we got a few minutes and I kind of want to touch on the first game without going into depth because we do have a show before Thursday's game.
Do Monday.
And yeah, so we do have a show before Thursday's game. I think going into the season, we can just wrap the preseason up and everything. I think going into the season, there's high expectations.
Yeah.
I think we have a good roster. Regardless of what happens at 4:00. One thing I don't want to see, I don't want to see Houston get cut. I hate that his name's being mentioned, but at some point I have to trust the moves that they're making. The past won't allow me to, but this is a totally different regime. So I have to trust what's going on. How would you feel if they cut Houston now?
I feel like James Houston is last year was one of my favorite players on the whole defense. And it was funny because it was so crazy to see him have so much impact in the second half of the year. I was like, is he gonna catch Hutchinson and sacks? Like, I was kind of rooting for him to, like, because that's pretty remarkable to catch up to. Obviously, Hutchinson was a number 2 pick. Played all 17 games. So with Houston playing half the games, that's got to be some type of accomplishment to catch up to him in half the game. So, he almost could have got some votes for Rookie of the Year. So with that said, he definitely became one of my favorite players, and it would be disappointing to see him somehow still not make the roster despite what he was able to accomplish, not only in preseason, but in real actual games that factored into us nearly making the playoffs. So, it would be a disappointment for sure.
Man, take Will Harris. Don't take Houston, man. I'm sorry.
He's still on the roster.
It got to be something they see in Will Harris, like something that it's got to be something that he's doing. He got to be a leader in that locker room.
Gotta be. He's got to be a locker room guy. Got to be just just the high character guys do get a little more of a leash. That's for sure.
I'm hating. I hope Will Harris doesn't hear this, see this show, man.
Man, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man,
I don't want to see anybody get cut, but I just know, like, just the play hasn't been where I thought it would be from him, with him being, being there, being here for a couple of years. So, and I don't want to get rid of Houston. Somebody has to take the fall, not Houston. Keep Houston. Oh, the text I got from my wife a second ago. Okay. All righty. Look here. Did I mention she bought Lions tickets for the Monday night game against the Raiders?
Yeah. Yeah. You better watch
Such a good wife.
Yeah.
Such a good wife, man. God bless her. That about do it for today, man. We're gonna wrap it up, man. Foster, this is episode 5?
Episode 5, man.
Oh, we still here after 5 episodes. Gotta shout out Motor City Metrics, man. If you haven't subscribed to Motor City Metrics, please do so. You can also check us out on the audio. If you're working out, driving to work, cleaning the house, just don't want to look at us and want to listen, though. Kind of weird, but if that's what you want to do, you can check us out on iPodcast. You can check us out on any kind of Google Podcast or Spotify. Definitely check us out there. Just type in Bleachers Speakers in the search. You'll see the logo, and you can just listen. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm working, so I can't always watch the screen, but I can definitely listen. So if you can, check us out there. It'll be uploaded at 6:00 on Tuesday mornings. So whether you get your morning jog, your morning workout, getting ready for school, getting ready for work, getting the kids ready, whatever, just turn it on, man. Listen. Right, Foss?
Absolutely.
You got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Tune in next Monday. We won't have a game to talk about. We'll just be previewing the upcoming Thursday night game, which is highly anticipated. So
and we'll have predictions. We'll have predictions. We'll have expectations. We'll have a lot in that show going into Thursday.
Yeah.
And Foster's going to give you his score and prediction.
Whew, just me?
Whether you want. No, just you. I ain't saying nothing.
Oh wow.
Hey man, they don't need to be mad at both of us. I mean, you can take somebody got to take the bullet.
Yeah.
So hey, but I started to dive into the Kansas City game, but we'll save that for next episode. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I want to thank my beautiful wife for existing and listening. Don't laugh, Foster. Get real. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Foster, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, sir. Tune in next week. Bleachers to Speakers.